Howdy, SuchoKing here, folks. Happy holidays. And for this video, what I'm going to be doing is actually reviewing a past fight to demonstrate a strategy for defeating multiple opponents. One of the ways that I got my reputation is the fact that I've been able to win so many fights where it's just me versus like multiple people. I have 1v2s, 1v3s, 1v4s, 1v5s. I think I've done a 1v all the way up to a 1v9. And though I don't win every fight, I usually fight every fight really well. And I try to make every fight close or just me wiping everyone out. But I want to talk about how do you beat multiple opponents, because people have asked me, hold on, you have the same Spino that any other Spino player has, does the same damage, same health. How can you reliably beat these players and be confident in these situations? Well, I'm going to show you the strategy that I used on one or more occasions. There are lots of ways that I go about fighting multiple opponents, and I'm usually confident against even a group of 2 or 3 Spinos, but there are reasons for that. I've been in so many fights, and kind of my tactics are just kind of instinct now. But one thing that I do is just I use everything that's in the game. It's not that I just come and attack and you attack and I try to hit you without you hitting me. I like to hang on. Okay, I'm back. I kind of lost my train of thought there. But anyways, so what I'm going to do is let me go ahead and just go to the fight. Hang on. Okay, I'm back. Okay, so let me pull up the screen here. All right, so here's the fight that I'm going to use as my example here. All right, so what's going to happen in this fight is I'm going to engage 5 opponents. Now, one or more of these opponents may just be respawns, but I am going to show you that I was fighting more than one opponent at the same time and how to overcome that situation, because I should have lost this fight 3 times. But this took place back in October the 13th, and just so you know where I get this video, I'm just on my YouTube. If you scroll down, you'll see the sections that I've organized. One of them is best fights. This is a section that I put a lot of my favorite fights in, and they're not all ones that I win, but they're all ones where I feel like I fought well, or there's a teachable moment, or they're just ones that I really enjoyed. So definitely check that out if you want to see some good fighting. But anyways, so from that list, we have, oops, not that one. Here we go. So here we go. We have 1v5, the KOS the wrong player. So this started because I was basically spawning in. I was trying to get to Great Lake, and I ended up with a Riverland spawn. Shout out to everyone who was from the Riverland days. And I figured, well, this isn't the spawn I want, but I guess it can be useful to have a Spino here just in case, anyone shows up here and I want to, start to do a fight. I can just have one stashed here. So I went to start to stash my Spino. So I come up and I realize, okay, there's a couple players here. 2 Spinos, 1 whatever. I was not interested at all in fighting them. There was something going on at Great Lake at the time, so I wanted to just hurry up and get over there. So what I did was I was just going to walk around. So I could have attacked, decided not to. This other guy has a back turn. This guy is very nervous around me. So I could tell something was up even before this happened. But what happened was this guy and this guy who just spawned in immediately came to attack me. And what I think happened is this is the concavinator from a few moments ago. So if you remember, when I walked up, there's a guy standing right here. I believe he spawned out and spawned in as a Spino. And he did not attack, and he waited until he had a Spino. The 3 of them. So this guy turns around, and you notice he was standing still until I got to where my back was turned to him. Okay. So he comes up, starts to back attack me. He goes after the tail, which is good. That's what he should do. You don't want to attack from the front. I already know this isn't going to end well for me, so I'm just trying to deal as much damage as I can deal. So the three of those guys just kind of jumped me out of nowhere is what happened. So I was like, you know what? I do have one Spino here, other than the one I was going to stash here. I wanted to teach these guys a lesson. Like, that was, I don't have a problem with KOSing. It's just, since you KOS me, I'm going to show you what happens when you fight someone like me.
Okay.
So I was just very
That's how it is.
Nonchalant about it. So I knew I was going to go back in, and I was confident that I was going to just wipe out that entire pack. Okay. So here I am. I've spawned back in the middle of the lake in Riverland, okay? What I'm planning to do is just take them by surprise, and first thing I'm going to do is start to whittle down their numbers. So whoever's closest, I'm going to take them out before they realize what's happening, so that I can have a fight that's more in my favor. So first thing, take out the lone wolves, take out the first one. Okay. So I come up on the first guy. He's fishing or whatever he's doing. So I start to, so I just go ahead.
What's up?
I quickly end that guy. So now these guys heard the commotion. They're on their way. Now they're doing what's called a rush. A rush is really bad when you're in a pack. A rush basically takes away your multiple. The fact that you have multiple attackers, it takes away that advantage because he's so far out ahead of his partner that when he engages me, he's going to find out that I'm the better fighter, and his partner won't be there to stop me. So we're engaged. Now, if you notice, the first thing I did was dive, spin, ride. I started to spin around him, because what I want is for both of these guys to be on the same side of me. I want them either both on my right or I want them both on my left. I don't want to be in between, because then if I attack one on my left, I have the other guy on my right? And I have to go back and forth, which puts me at a disadvantage. What if I miss? You know what I mean? This is back when we had a 4-second cooldown. So what happened is, the reason you put them both on the same side is, one, it's easier to aim. You keep them on one side, you don't have to switch back and forth. The other thing is, the second guy, the guy who's farthest, has to bite through his partner to get to you sometimes. So sometimes you can rely on a mistake where one guy, while he's trying to get you, hits his own partner. It's just an advantage to keep them on the same side, and it's always a disadvantage to be in between. So never get in between two opponents that you're fighting at once. Okay, so what happens is there's always a spin. Like, if you're good, you're gonna spin in water, right? So at some point you can shoot out, because sooner or later somebody's going to get your tail, and since Spinos have the same speed, you're not going to get away if you wait too long to shoot out. So I chased one guy out of the spin and I followed him out. The point is, I want to deal as much damage as possible. All right, so he's on land. I don't follow him out, because then I'm going to get followed and I'm going to get tail bitten. So instead, I just turned to fight the other guy. Now, I am already elevated, and I decided I'm going to do an advanced move. I'm going to dive while attacking at the same time. So I'm landing bites while he's coming up, and I've chased the second guy to the water. Okay. So they're regrouping, and they're coming back immediately to engage. They don't know how much damage they've done. What they probably feel is that they should have done some damage, and it shouldn't take very long to finish me now. because now they're not in a confusing spinning situation anymore. They're both on the same side, and they can attack at the same time instead of one person rushing in. But if you notice, he didn't really wait too long to let this guy regroup and rejoin him. He came right in. But he did, the other guy did join him quickly. So what they're doing now is they are in chase mode. They feel that they have the advantage now because they're going to attack at the same time. So what's happening is they're doing what mini packs do, is they're going to try to box me in. They're going to surround me. One person's going to be on one side, the other person wants to be on the other side. Whoever is facing the tail attacks first because they can attack without me attacking them until I turn around. Whoever is facing my head is basically just the bait. You don't want to get stuck face tanking when somebody else can run up and finish your opponent for you. All right, so I already know this. I already know we're in this phase of the fight immediately. Now here's my attitude on the day at the time where they just turned it around on me.
You will lose.
I am 100% confident that I'm going to win the fight 2v1. 100%. Here's why. Okay. So here's the moral of the story, divide and conquer. So here's where the division starts to happen. It already happened in the very beginning when I decided to take out the guys who strayed too far from the pack. You take out those guys first if you have the opportunity. Be an opportunist. Now the second part is when you start to engage two people at once, like I'm in here, and they're in hunt mode, and they're trying to box you in. What I'm deciding to do is I'm not going to run from them. What I'm doing is I'm luring them into a trap, and I know they're falling for it. Here's how I know if they've fallen for the trap that I'm setting. Watch what happens here. Okay, so I'm going up on the platform. He's following behind here. I would say this one is the weaker of the two fighters. He's not as seasoned as this one, even though this one is very rash. He rushes in. He rushed in first, got chased out, and then he re-engaged again first. But look at what they're doing here. So they're doing this. They're setting up on both sides to surround me, to keep me from running away. I have no intention of running away. I just wanted to separate them. Now watch this. Okay. Now I can make it a 1v1. Not only that, it's going to take this person, because they're a Spino, some time to cross the land to come and help their partner. So now they've just been lured into a 1v1 situation. I'm about to have position on this person because I'm going to have their tail. So this person, my aim is to finish them quickly now that I have them 1v1. Okay, he's done. Let me go full screen. All right, so this is not a strategy available to everyone. First of all, you have to be confident that you can beat all the opponents if they were in a 1v1. If there were 5 Spinos here, I would have to be confident that if I could single them out 1v1, I would have to be confident I can beat them all. Otherwise, you don't even attempt this. So I was confident, and I just showed that I could beat them 1v1. So I've destroyed both of them. The Sucho that just spawned in, I believe, is either one of these two, or it's one of the two. It's somebody who got a message to come and help before the fight started.
Let's see if I can take this Sucho by surprise.
Unfortunately, my fin gave me away, so I wasn't going to surprise him.
Oh, he jumped in.
So if I had to guess, he's the first. That Sucho is the first Spino who went down. He's the one who charged in first, got chased out, and then I took him down when I divided them. Okay, and I think that second Spino is possibly the same second guy. The only thing that makes me doubt is usually people pick the same skin over and over. So it could have been a different player, just part of the same friends group, but it could have just been the same 2 Spinos that just went down. Let's see if they're since they lost to me 1v2, let's see if their strategy changes at all. Now, if you notice, the Sucho didn't immediately go in. He went in at first, but then he came right out, which shows he understands Sucho's no match for Spino, 1v1. And also his partner's not there yet. So I realize they're working together, okay? The first guy's waiting for the second guy to organize with him. Okay, so now I reveal myself. I had been staying underwater, but I realized they're not going to come in until they know where I am. So I make my presence known. Okay, which gives one of them the confidence to get in the water because now he knows I'm not right at the edge, ready to kill him. He knows he can get in the water now. He just doesn't know how they're going to go about the attack yet. He's 3-calling me. 3-calling is a waste of time. If you're fighting a serious fighter, 3-calling is only a disadvantage to you because it's going to throw off your attack time, in my opinion. But what that signals to me is basically they're used to stat crushing people. They're not skilled fighters. They're just used to overwhelming people with numbers and with the strongest dino in the game. And whenever they 3-call, it usually means that whoever they're fighting is going to try to run from them, especially when they see that there's multiple opponents to fight. What I did, which was different than in their previous engagements, was I went right at them. I attacked their first member of the group, and then when the two saw what happened and they came running at me, I didn't run away. I went towards them. Okay, so that is already an unusual situation for them. Usually this would go their way, but it didn't go their way last time. And this time, I look to not be intimidated because I'm not running completely away from them. And yet also I'm not engaging them immediately either. So they're really unsure what to do. So whenever somebody's unsure what to do in a game, they revert to their instinct. So watch what their behavior is. They're separating. They're basically going to box me in again. So this is the same strategy that happened last time. Now, if they had time to sit down and think about this and discuss this, they'd probably be like, you know what, hey, we tried this the first time and it didn't work. We need to try a different strategy. They didn't have time to think. It's really their fault. They didn't have to get into the water so quickly, but they're going to try it again. Okay, but it's different this time. Now watch this. See how far away they are? This Spino's far away. I feel like this is the second Spino who went down because he was the more cautious, more timid one. The other guy's really aggressive. But he's way out there. So they're aware that they're fighting someone who can outsmart them, and if they're not careful, beat them again. So this time they're trying to be more methodical and patient about it. Now, if I had stayed like this, waiting for them to come and do the same thing they did last time, they wouldn't have. So what I did was something different. Watch this. I went to act like I was going for the Sucho.
Yeah, you better run.
This one saw my back, so he came to come towards me because he thinks that I'm about to commit. Then I turned to act like I'm going for him. Or actually, I went for him. He wouldn't have come at me by himself if I hadn't just done that. So he got close enough to where I can jump in the water, and now I have position on him. I have his tail. Spinos have such a long tail that I don't need to be that close to land a bite. So now he's trying to extend the fight so that the Sucho can come help him. I was a little surprised with how fast that Sucho got over there, but Suchos are fast. So it's now 1v1 until he gets in the water. My strategy is just to win the 1v1 first and then deal with the Sucho. The Sucho just got a bite on my tail, but I'm not worried. Now I'm engaging the Sucho. This water, this underwater sound is trash. It is garbage. The underwater muffle just makes it hard to know if I'm landing. I had no concerns whatsoever with how or if I was going to beat that Sucho, even though he had position on me and he had already gotten a bite on my tail. Stats matter in this game at some point. You know, I would never, ever lose a fight to a Sucho. 1v1 as a Spino. It just isn't going to happen. It doesn't matter how skilled anyone is. The stats of the Spino are kind of specifically geared against the Sucho. So it's like, you know, even if you're the best in the world at that dino, I'm as good as a player can be in the water. Hang on. So there's really nothing the Sucho could have done. You know, he was outmatched in every way. So at that point, I was pretty sure that I had already just wiped out the entire pack, or I'd killed all their dinos at Riverland, or they realized they're not going to defeat me. So I just basically swam around a little bit, just waiting to see if anyone else would spawn in, but all their bodies are just kind of littering the floor of the lake there. And basically, I mean, other than when I spawned in ready to fight these guys, I took one bite from a Spino and one bite from a Sucho in 2 separate engagements. Skill tops everything. So I roared, he didn't challenge. Okay, so that's basically the moral of the story for this fight. So in order to divide and conquer, you need to sometimes use the environment. So for me, I've fought in this lake before, so I kind of know this rock is here. But there's various other places across the map that you can use to let someone kind of surround you, but let it be a trap. If they were on land, or actually, no, if they were on land, it would be the same thing. But for Spinos in water, this gives you the opportunity to fight 1v1 and finish the first opponent before the second one jumps in, if you're confident that you can beat them both, which I was. So there's a lot of places on the map where you can have this kind of tactical advantage with the environment, but you've got to be aware of your surroundings and know how to use it. If you're one person fighting a pack, you have to use everything. And it was the same strategy the second time with a little variation. Hey, if you got a deal that works, you just keep on doing it. Okay, so let me show you one more example, right, from the best fights category here. This one is actually a 1v1. Let me see here. So, all right, so from this day, it was on, let me see when this was. This is another example of how I used the environment to beat an opponent. Let's see, so this is from November 11th. Okay, so to set this up, this is during a live stream. I'm by myself right now, but I have been partnering up with Vonda. And what happens is I went to Talon's Point, and there's a bunch of other Spinos, right? One of these Spinos happens to be one of the top Spinos in the game, even though it annoys me to admit it. Fox and Beaver is one of the best Apex players. He's one of the best in the water. Part of that comes from fighting me and fighting alongside me, I feel, because we did pack a day. And, you know, I try to impart some knowledge on whoever I pack with so that they can be a little more effective, because they become a burden and they'll get me killed. But anyways, this is after I think he stabbed me in the back that day. And so anytime we kind of meet, we kind of know it's going to be either a fight that I start or a fight that he you know, tries to ambush me or something. So anyways, I trust you. So I had actually been fighting another top, I think he's basically top 10. Ellis Patel is another Spino player who, I mean, if you've ever run into a dangerous Spino, one of them would be Ellis Patel. I had just fought him, and so I was basically talking about him to my stream because he was watching my stream at the same time, I think. Your motives. In other words, I know what you're here for. That doesn't mean that you're not going to try to eat me. And I was explaining, you know, I like some of these other players, you know what I mean? But I don't trust them. So Ellis is an example of that. I do like Ellis. I like watching his videos too. Let's see.
Why are you roaring at me, dude?
So I recognize that guy as Fox and Beaver. We had fought one previous time in the same stream before this engagement here. I won that exchange, but here we're both fresh. Okay, actually, he was fresh last time. But so here's why I say Fox is one of the best people in the game. So when it comes to Spino, he's definitely top 10. There's a point in this game where if your skills are high enough, you fighting another top player, there's really not a difference between number 1 and number 9, because the way that you get to be one of the top players is you can really maneuver well in water. If we're talking Spino, the top players can all do the same thing. Like I said, we all have the same dino. It has the same moves. So effectively, if I'm fighting any of the other top Spinos in the game, it basically is going to usually be a coin toss. It's going to be like 50-50, because my swimming ability is neutralized by their swimming ability. They can swim just as well. And if swimming is not a factor, then basically it's a face tank battle in water, because we're not going to get away from each other. All the top players, if we get within bite distance, somebody's going to die. I'm too good to let anyone get away from me once they're in my bite range. They're too good to let me get away once I'm in their bite range. So usually it comes down to whoever hits first. As any face tank battle is, whoever hits first is going to win. That's why I always say strike first. Always strike first. Because if it comes down to it, you'll have gotten the first bite. So here, I know who it is that I'm up against, right? The only thing that's going to affect the outcome, other than luck and seeing who bit first, is if one of the players gets really creative. So he's deciding what he wants to do.
Well, now,
Even though Fox is skilled, he doesn't fight super aggressive. He tries to go for the tail. If your back's turned, he'll go for you. If I'm turned towards him, you'll see that he's going to turn away from me. Watch this. And I wanted to fight him, but he was kind of being very timid and shy about it. So he's kind of an opportunist, which there's nothing wrong with that. That's what he should be. So in order to get him to engage, what I did was I gave him a favorable position. So I gave him my tail. And also, I wanted to get away from the other blue guys to make sure that the other blue guy wouldn't jump in the fight, because Fox would accept the help. Fox isn't proud. He's not going to be like, hey, I'm having a 1v1 here. Don't jump in. He's going to use whatever advantage he has against me, which is perfectly reasonable. He should. All right.
let's get away from Blue. Blue looks like he wants to.
Okay. So I know it's a coin toss if I'm fighting one of the top players. So what I do is I'm going to use the environment.
Us.
So he may be able to swim as well as me, but I have more experience in all kinds of swimming situations. So I understand the difference that a object that is obstructing your path makes in terms of speed, in terms of where you come out, in terms of, are you going to throw your first bite where I'm lateral, or are you going to throw it where I'm underneath you? How often do people miss when they're aiming up versus down? I have all this stuff as an instinct now. So I threw this at him. I kind of knew this rock was here. I threw this at him to see how well he would do. I already know how good he is when there's nothing in between, but when I throw something in between, I'm changing it up a bit. And it totally destroyed his advantage. He did not know how to deal with it. He lost visual. He thought I may be going this way, but instead I used it to come and get side control.
Oh, using the environment, son.
And I believe he realized his mistake almost immediately. So now I have the tail, which means you're basically guaranteed to be dead. Once I get your tail, there's really not much you can do about it. Because even if you can turn it around or make it a 50-50 turn battle, I probably have already gotten a bite out of you, which means that if you're going to engage, if you're going to continue to do what you're doing, you're going to lose. It's just a matter of time. So he runs away. He kind of does. He'll run from fights, dude. He's not. He ain't the die on his shield type. He'll run from the fight, and then he'll kind of show up out of nowhere later. But that's basically how I turned that around, and I have no damage against a player who almost certainly should be able to get me at least to half health. So any of the top players that I engage, if it's Ellis, if it's Vonda, if it's Stromy, any of those guys, I'm not usually walking away with all my health at this level. At that level, you're not walking away with more than half or a slither if you win. So that's another example. Let me show you one more example of two opponents losing due to environment. Let me see. Here's another one from Best Fights playlist. This is a 1v2 with me versus Xanax Barbie and Killa. Okay, this one is an oldie but a goodie. I like this. This is August 19th, and I wish more people had saw this fight, but it was good. Okay, so basically on this day I had been just making people disappear at water. They go swimming, they go fishing, no one ever hears from them again. They figure out I'm online, and it's basically full-scale war against me. What had happened right before this is I think it was like 5 of them, and I killed 3. So there's 2 of them left. So I came, and these 2 immediately started aggro calling me. So, okay, I remember what happened now. So basically there were 2 other Spinos and a Sucho. I beat those 2. The Sucho took a bite out of me, and these 2 joined the party late, and they feel that they can together overwhelm me and defeat me. So what I'm doing first is I'm leading them out a bit further away. He was with them. He was the guy who I killed, and he respawned. So I don't think he's interested in fighting me again. So what I'm doing right now is leading them out here into the middle where the water is deepest, because I'm going to have the advantage in terms of swimming skill. If you have the advantage in swimming skill, then deep water is an asset. If you don't, then it's not an asset. And I'm also looking to see if there's anyone else who joins. So now the trickery starts. So I dive, and I'm diving and turning at the same time. I'm giving them 2 things to think about. And now I'm not running away. I was never running from them. That was never what I was going to do. I was just moving them into a better position to fight. And now I'm coming at them. It's 2 of them against 1 of me, and I'm coming directly at them. Same thing that happened at Riverland. I usually always go directly at the threat. So it's to discourage future engagements. And it throws people off, man, because when you're 2 Spinos and there's 1, or you're 3 and there's 1, and that 1 comes right at you, sometimes it just throws people off to where they freeze up for a second. Like, is this guy really charging us? But in this case, I've killed these guys on so many occasions. Part of the reason that they are chasing me so hard is they are just done. They are just over it. They want to kill me. They want the satisfaction of killing me. So that's why they are engaging me so hard. And they should win. They've got a lead in terms of they're fresh for me killing them before, and I'm not fresh. I took a bite. So they should win because, well, either one of them should be able to beat me. Just based on if I get the same amount of bites as you, I should go down first. And there's 2 of them. All right, so the fight begins. I'm mixing it up by going up and down. All right, I decide to target Killa first. I usually go after the weakest target first because they're usually going to give up the most bites at the least cost. I know he's the weakest because he basically hung back a little bit. Part of that is just wisdom. He knows I'm no one to mess with. But the other thing is that just makes it that I need to go after him first. He's going to be basically not fighting back. He's going to be fighting. He's going to be there to kind of be bait for the other one. And his turning is not good. Even though I'm taking damage from Xanax, this is Killa. Even though I'm taking damage from Xanax, both both of them, they're not as good in the water as me in terms of swimming. But I don't want to take any more damage. So basically, I need this fight to move, and thankfully, I've gotten enough bites to where Killa knows he needs to move too. So Killa shoots out first. So I call this shooting. When there's a 50-50 turn radius where two people are circling each other, or there's a three-person 50-50 turn radius where three people are circling, at some point someone goes out, and that's shooting. He shoots out first because he wants to avoid damage and dying. But that's a total disadvantage for me. I was ready for it, and I know that the Spino's tail is so long that I'm going to be able to get him just by nipping at the tip of his tail. At this point, all that needs to happen is one of these two needs to land one bite against me. I've just made this a 1v1. But Xanax has position on me. Now, she's not as good as me in the water, but she doesn't need to be. At this point, all she needs is one bite. She's landed two already. She needs one bite to win this fight. She's fresh. I've landed 0 bites on her. I've only targeted Killa. Now, what I'm observing is that she's going up and down. She's unsure of if she's in range or if she's at the right elevation to land a bite against me. So what I need to do is make this a harder calculation for her. I know these waters pretty well, so what I'm doing is swimming towards a rock. Okay, so what's happening is this rock is forcing my camera into my model's body. Okay, I just performed a maneuver that she has shown or has not demonstrated she has the ability to do, which is a hard turn. And I have the camera issue. So what's going to happen is she's going to have the exact same thing happen to her. The camera issue is going to force her to really turn. And as long as she can't do exactly what I just did, I should be okay. And I should be able to get to her position, to her tail. All right, she missed. Okay. Most people miss downward more often than upward. Most people miss down more often than up. Just like some people are better, just like most people are better facing right than facing left, just because they're mostly right-handed. So I figured I needed to be below her a little more. So now I'm not even worried about that. Now I'm in kill mode because I've outmaneuvered her and I now have the tail position. So I can just tail ride her to death. She's trying to hard turn, but she's not good at it. Okay, she should have got me there. What happens is I realize my tail is a vulnerability with somebody who knows how to hard turn. So what I do is I up and down to move the target up and down and make them miss. So the name of the game usually is make them miss, make them pay. And that is especially important when you're a single fighter going up against multiple fighters. You want to preserve your health so that you can engage and get in as many fights as possible without respawning. So now she's fully committed to the 50-50 turn, but what's happening is her skill allows her to put all of her focus into one move without being able to mix it up. I can do the move that she's doing. We're both doing the exact same move, but I'm doing that plus another move stacked on top of it. Watch this. I just put my tail up, so if she wants to hit it, she now has to aim her camera and her bite upwards. She's also taking damage from me. Okay, how do I do that? At this point, she's going to freeze, and I now have the full tail riding position. I lost it again. It can be a little tricky when they can hard turn, too. But what I'm doing is mixing it up. I call this over-under. Sometimes I'm under, sometimes I'm over. What you have to do is keep aiming up and down, and that's what causes a lot of players to miss me. In some ways, it's better than side control, because if the target is the tail, if that's the thing that they can hit, yeah, it's a disadvantage to have such a long target out there. But look at this: when you go down, it moves up faster, and it goes down faster. So in other words, you can move your target up and down really fast, just because of the metrics of it. You know, just think about it like a ruler, the tip of a ruler going up and down. That's a hard target to hit if you do it right. So I had been landing bites the whole time, not just dodging and not just turning. I do all three. She was struggling to do even two of those. Okay, and that's how I won. But just remember, what turned this entire thing around for me was the environment. She had the superior position. She had a lead. She only needed one bite. She had full health, so she can get away with me hitting her 4 times, which should have never happened. But what turned the fight around for me was using the environment. Going here, getting the camera to mess up, and then leading her right into the same situation. And she couldn't deal with it. She missed that bite. From there, it was over. And actually, she had a bunch of other opportunities to get me. Any bite would have ended me. Anyone. But I bet she was so focused on the tip of my tail, she may not have even noticed that rock coming up, or she may have thought, okay, he's done. Once he gets to that rock, I'm going to get him. But when she got to this range, I bet what happened with my camera happened with her camera. She should have got me there. So actually, I think she just missed. And like I said, usually people miss more often pointing down than up. So I tend to go down more than up. She's attacking, so I do like that she was trying to attack the whole time. But the thing is, right there, she should have attacked. Right back here. Right here. So we're in a 50-50 turn. I'm stacked, but she should be able to reach right there. And right here, the fact that she didn't attack right there and win the fight, that's the mistake. One mistake. Well, she got a lot of mistakes, but that one mistake should have hurt because she could have won here. But she missed. And it cost her the fight. The other thing that happened was I bet she's never gotten into that kind of position where you're in a 50-50 turn. The other person could go out and get your tail, but they kind of do a loop twice. I did a loop-de-loop twice. See that? I didn't stay at the tail. I did a loop-de-loop twice. It was kind of a mistake on my part, but since I knew I was making that mistake, I just rolled with it. I just continued the momentum. And then that was all she wrote. I think I went to engage this guy, too. Oh, he was running away from me. Yeah. So he was watching, and then I think he decided, nah. You know, let me see what... I think he wrote something in the chat. So Killa died. He says, I died as well. Cypher... So that was Cypher, I think. Cypher was there watching. Basically was gonna come and help them, but after I finished both of them, I think he just decided against it. And Cypher was like, he killed him. And I was a good sport. I said, GG, Barbie, and Killa. And they said GG back. But every other message that they put in global chat about me is just not very nice or complimentary. But that's all right. Okay. So, yeah, that's just to sum things up. One of the tools that I use to beat multiple opponents is using the environment. And actually it works against single opponents too. Basically, it's you use it to turn the disadvantages in your favor. So it doesn't just have to be when you're facing multiple opponents. You can do it like a single opponent, like when I fought Fox and Beaver. That's that. Let me know if you guys want to see any other videos or reviews of certain fights or, you know, any kind of situation. And I will kind of break it down. This was fun. Take care, guys. Happy holidays, and see you later.